Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Emily and I'm joining you here today from Mountain View, California. I hope that you're excited for today's lesson, which is Promote Your Business Online. And I want to give a special hello before we start to the businesses who are joining us today from a partner-hosted workshop. So I know we have at least 6 of those going on today, one in Pueblo, Colorado, one in Wexford, Pennsylvania, also in Rockville, Maryland, Skokie, Illinois, Bellevue, Washington, and last but not least, Houston, Texas. So a warm welcome to all of the businesses joining from those cities today. So before I turn it over to Stasia, who's going to teach you all about advertising on Google, I want to mention a couple things. So the first one is Stasia's presentation is going to be about 45 minutes. What I would encourage you to do during the presentation is follow along, pay close attention, and write down any notes that you have during the presentation on a piece of paper or on a laptop. Just take notes. And then after Stasia is done presenting, we'll be hosting a live Q&A session that'll be text-based in the community. So any questions that you write down, please hand to your workshop host so that we can get those questions answered for you immediately after the presentation. So with that, I hope you learn a lot and have some fun, and I would love to introduce you to Stasia.
Thank you so much, Emily. Good morning, everybody. Hope you all can hear me okay. I am ringing in from Nashville, Tennessee today, and I'm really excited to spend the next hour or so talking about advertising your business on Google. So a little note is I used to actually teach about a 16-hour class on this topic. So for me, the challenge is actually presenting this information in such a short period of time, but this is a passion of mine, and so I'm really excited to share this information with everybody across the country today. A little bit about me. I have been in the internet industry for about 17, actually it's going to be about 18 years now. And so I started in the early 90s working at a web development company, and then over the years I've handled everything from SEO, email marketing, and of course search engine marketing, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So I have quite a bit of experience in this area, and if you have any questions after today's session, as Emily mentioned, please come to that Q&A session and then ask us any questions that you might have. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be going over today. So first I'm going to give you an introduction to advertising on Google, basically how it works, and what your options are. Then we're going to talk about choosing the best keywords, the keywords that will be the most likely to be profitable for your business. And then third, we're going to be talking about writing text ads, which will be the most common place where advertisers will start when they're advertising on Google. And then the last piece that we'll talk about is how you can actually advertise beyond search using something called the Google Display Network. So that's an outline of today's session, and like Emily said, if you have a notebook handy, write down any notes that you have, and we will do our very best to answer any of the questions at the end of today's talk. Okay, so let's start talking about why you would advertise on Google. Well, every single day, globally, there are billions of searches that happen online. And if you think about Google as a giant database of intentions, Google is a place where people go when they have a question, they want to find something, they want to learn something, they have a problem that they're trying to diagnose, they have something they're trying to fix. So they go to Google and they type in the words and the phrases that they're thinking about at this moment in time. And so Google is going to allow you to show ads at the very moment that people are searching for it. So this is actually a big paradigm shift in the way advertising has evolved. Back when I started, we were still doing what was sort of called the spray and pray approach, where businesses would put their advertisements out anywhere a potential customer could possibly see that ad. But now with search engine marketing, it's very different. We're able to pinpoint an ad to them at the very moment that they're looking for us, because we know that based on what they're typing into the search engine, it's showing an ad to the right person and the right place at the right time. And that's the power, and that's why advertising on Google can be so effective for your business. So we're going to be talking about an introduction to advertising on Google. I'm going to show you how the ads work, and then I'm going to give you an overview of the two options that you can use to advertise. One is called AdWords and one is called AdWords Express. And I'll give you a brief description that defines how they're different so you can choose which one makes the most sense for your business. Okay, so let's start talking about how ads on Google work. So here's the scenario. Someone wants something, they want to learn something, they want to find something, so they go to google.com or whatever Google property they're using, and then they type in the word or phrase that they're thinking about, and that we actually call the search query. And then Google is going to actually look at what it can tell. It's going to take the words that that person typed in. It knows what time of the day, what time of the year. It can tell what location generally you're in based on the IP address of the computer, and say, okay, well, Stasia is looking for a clothing boutique near Nashville, Tennessee, and it is in July. And so Google is going to pull from everything that it knows about the history of what people have searched for and clicked on, and in milliseconds display a web page for me with a list of the most relevant results it can find. And those results include the ads and the organics. Now, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a sec. So what will happen then is that the searcher will look at that page and see all of the options right there, and then he or she will choose the options that click with them, that resonate with them, the ones that seem to answer the question. And if your advertisement is there, that is your golden moment. That is your opportunity to show your ad to that person at the very moment that they're searching for you on Google. Okay. So this is called a pay-per-click model. I'm going to show you a little bit about the search results page. So the arrow at the top that you see, that is pointing out one of the advertisements on this page. So the ads can appear at the top of the search engine results page, and they can also appear on the side in the column. And every advertiser has one opportunity to show an ad on this page. That means that if you're competing against a store that has a very large budget, they only get one chance to show up on that page. So this works for businesses large and small because you can only win one slot on the search engine results page. In fact, it's going to be a matter of who's going to show the most useful, the most relevant ad that will determine which ads show up on this page. We'll go into a little bit of the combination of what Google's going to look at to decide where the ads appear. But you can see the ads at the top. They're labeled with a yellow sticker that says ad, which clearly labels them. Below the advertisements in the center, well, those are the natural or the organic results. That's not what we're talking about today. That is people who try to promote their sites there are using a strategy called search engine optimization. Today we're talking about search engine marketing. Now, as I said, it's a pay-per-click model, and that is a very attractive model for businesses because it means you are not paying for the privilege of showing your ad on Google. You're only going to pay if that person takes the next step and actually clicks on your ad to learn more. So even if your ad shows 100 times, which means 100, they call it impressions, 100 impressions, if no one clicks on your ad in those 100 impressions, it doesn't cost you any money because no one took that click. So you can think of AdWords and AdWords Express as sort of a lead delivery system where you're going to pay when Google delivers the lead to your business. Now, one thing that I cannot emphasize enough here is that Google's job is to show the ad when someone does that search, display that ad, and then send the person to the web page that you pick on your website where the advertisement should end up. At that point, it's your job. Your website has to close the sale. And so if your website is unprofessional or doesn't load or people don't know how to check out, if they don't know how to finish whatever it is that they came to the website to do, then there's a very good chance you're going to lose the sale in that particular case. So it's very, very important to have a great looking website that's professional and easy to use that goes along with your AdWords and AdWords Express campaigns, because these are only going to get people to your site. You have to be able to close the sale there. Okay. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at the difference between AdWords and AdWords Express. So they both work in the same way, where someone will see the ad, click on it, and end up on the website. They're both pay-per-click models. I'm not going to read this chart to you, but you have all the information there. But in a nutshell, AdWords Express is a simplified version of this software, and it allows anyone to advertise very, very quickly. Basically, you'll go in, you will pick a category for your business, you will write a text ad for your business, you will put in a budget, it's a monthly budget, and you can specify where in the world or how far away you want your ads to show. And then Google is going to do the rest. Google is going to manage the bids for you. Google is going to find the keywords for you and basically do all of the other stuff on the back end. So you can really be up and advertising within just, probably 15 minutes or so if you use AdWords Express. You do get some reporting based on showing you how many clicks that you got for the budget that you spent. But it is a system where you can just set it up and then Google will basically run with it. Now, AdWords is the full-featured platform, and with AdWords, you have a lot more control over what your advertising campaigns will look like. You will pick your own keywords. You can control your bids. You can control a daily budget. So you have a lot more flexibility in the AdWords platform, but it requires more work because now you're going to have to do all that keyword research and manage the bids. So it's sort of that trade-off where if you want to be able to be more actively involved in managing your ad campaign, AdWords is the platform for you, but it is not a set it up and forget about kind of software. It will require regular maintenance. And some companies they have people that do this all day for them. You don't have to do that, but AdWords can take a lot of your time and resources, but you can get a lot back from it as well. So it just depends on what makes the most sense for you. You don't want to run both at the same time because then you're still competing for the same search engine results page. So if you want to start, you could start with AdWords Express and see how you like it, and then you could move up to AdWords if you're ready to start taking on the management yourself, or AdWords Express might be doing what you need in and of itself. Anyway, there's the breakdown of how of the two platforms if you have any questions about it. To sort of sum it up, though, with both of these software options, there are no startup fees, there are no cancellation fees. They both work on a pay-per-click model. There's no contract, there's no minimum commitment. You could literally set this up today, let it run for an hour, and then turn it off if you decided you didn't want to advertise anymore. So it's a really it's a no commitment way to go in there and see if advertising on Google can work for your business. My experience with it, I've been helping advertisers with this since 2004, 2005, and I have seen it do really great things for businesses who have set this up correctly and monitored and managed it well, have great ads. And so this can make a big difference for your business, particularly if it's a new website and you don't have any presence in the organic search results yet. If you're going to be working on an SEO campaign to appear in the organics, it might take weeks, months, even years in some cases for your website to show up on very competitive terms. But if you use Google's advertising platforms, you could theoretically be showing ads within 15 minutes as soon as your ads are approved and up and running on Google. So this is a great, fast way to show up on the search engine results pages for searches that are important for your business. Okay. So that is the introduction to AdWords. Let's start talking about sort of the core of the account, and that would be the keywords. And we'll talk about finding keywords that make the most sense for your business. And I'll explain a little bit more about what I mean by a keyword. So I'm going to talk about what they are and what the match types are. I'll talk about a tool that can help you research keywords. It's called the Keyword Planner. Then I'll talk about some ways that you can start optimizing your keyword list. I'll give you an introduction to the search terms report, and then we'll talk a little bit about negative keywords as well. Okay, so what exactly is a keyword? And a lot of people, particularly newbies, will call a keyword an AdWord. That's actually not really a word. AdWord is the sort of the brand name for Google's advertising platform. But a keyword in what we're talking about today is a word or a phrase. It can actually be up to 10 words in that phrase that can trigger an ad when somebody does a search. Keywords are not case sensitive, so you don't have to worry about that when you are making up your lists or managing them in the software. So a good keyword is a word that is relevant to the products and services that you sell. And a good keyword is going to closely match what that person typed in. Now, when someone goes to Google and they type in a word or a phrase, that is called the search query. The search query is what they're actually looking for. So in the context of advertising, it's going to be how closely does the keyword that you are trying to show your ad for match the search query, which is what that person typed into the search engine to find what they were looking for. And finding the right set of keywords, that's the ever ongoing challenge for every advertiser. And we call this sort of like the Goldilocks principle, where we don't want keywords that are too hot and we don't want keywords that are too cold. So as an example, let's just say that you are a florist and you are advertising some of your products and you're thinking about what kinds of keywords you want to include in your list. Well, the first thing you might think of is flowers. I sell flowers, right? But what does that person who's searching for flowers want to find? You don't know if they're in the market to actually buy flowers from a florist. Maybe they want to find pictures of flowers or information for a school report or information about planting a flower garden. There's so many options. There's so many things that this person could be looking for that just the keyword flower or flowers is probably not a good option for this business. We want to find something more particular, like buy flower bouquets or buy flowers in Nashville, something that relates to your business. You may have heard of the terms long tail versus a short tail keyword. That is an industry term. So a short tail keyword is sort of this generic keyword like flower that means, you know, it's kind of the root of what you're looking for. And then the long tail of search, that's when we take that word and we make it more specific. It's a longer keyword that more accurately describes what that person's looking for. Now, it's not going to get as much search volume. There won't be as many people typing those words into Google, but you'll have a better chance as a business of pinpointing an ad to a person who's a likely customer in this case, because you know based on what search they typed in that they're probably looking for your products and services. Okay, let's go forward to the next slide. Now, oh goodness, this is yet another chart. Don't read the chart. Reading charts is hard. I'll just explain what it means. And then you can go back and look at it later if you want. What I'm going to be explaining in this particular slide is the concept of a match type. And this is a very important thing to understand if you're going to be advertising with Google. So with Google, there are 4 primary match types. There's another one, a smaller variation in there, but let's just cover these 4 for today. And the first one is called broad, and that's the default match type. So if you typed a keyword in and you didn't put any parameters around it, it's going to be a broad match keyword. So a broad match keyword means that Google can show your ad if someone searches for that word or phrase, or for words or phrases that are related to it, or if they include other words and phrases with that search. So it's basically giving Google the most leeway to show your ad when someone is searching for that word or phrase or anything that's close to it. So the nice part about a broad match keyword is that It covers your bases, because if you think about it, of all the different ways that people search for things, I mean, here's an example. I'm going to open up my drawer here so you all can see this thumb drive. And so this is a thumb drive where you store data, right? Well, what else might you call this? Some people call this a zip drive. Some people call it a flash drive. Some call it a memory stick. I'll bet that we could think about 10 different ways to actually describe this one little thing. And so if you apply that to everything in the world, and that could include misspellings and pluralization and singularizations and stemmings and things like that, think about all the different ways that you can describe the exact same thing, and then extrapolate that onto the internet, and you can think about how gigantic your keyword list might be. But the broad match will actually take care of that, because that's what this algorithm is designed to do, is to find all of those variations so you as an advertiser can show your ad when people might be searching for you. The downside of that is that you may start showing your ad for irrelevant searches, because if someone is searching for something very specific, let's say they want to find an 8 GB thumb drive, but you only sell 2 GB thumb drives, you might not want to show your ad in that particular case because you don't have what that person is actually looking for. So let's talk about the other match types that can help start narrowing in where you want your ads to show. So the second match type is called the phrase match type. And you can tell a phrase match keyword because the word will be in quotes. And with a phrase match, it has to be that word or phrase, and it's very close variants like singulars and plurals, or very close misspellings, and it can have words before the phrase and after the phrase, but not in between. So that's going to help you say, Google, I want you to really focus in on this particular part of the keyword, and I don't want any variations for that. So that's one way to start restricting where your ads are eligible to appear. Now, the third match type is called the exact match, and that means that it has to be that word or that phrase exactly, or those very close variants like very close spelling mistakes, singulars and plurals, things like that. You can't have words before, in between, or after. It's just those words and those variations. So you can see that the match types are actually getting more restrictive, which prevents ads from appearing on more of these searches. But it's your way to control how closely the search query, that is what someone typed into Google, needs to match the keyword that you're bidding for. Everybody with me so far? Hope so. Okay, let's talk about one more here, and this is called the negative keyword, and this is my personal favorite, and this is, in my book, the key to success with advertising with AdWords, because a negative keyword is going to operate in the exact opposite way. A negative keyword is your filter. It's your opportunity to say, hey Google, if someone searches, if their search query includes this word or phrase, do not show my ad. And so you can use that negative keyword list to prevent your ad from appearing on irrelevant searches. Now, the irrelevant search itself might not cost you any money if somebody searches on it, but you don't want your ad to appear in places where it's unlikely to get those clicks. Someone could click on it, and it can also start showing Google that, hey, your ad is showing, but people aren't liking it, people aren't clicking on it, so it might not be relevant. You really want your ads only to show on places where you're likely to get that potential customer and likely to get that click. I have seen many keyword lists where people have their broad, their phrase, their exact keywords, and they have negative keyword lists that are actually larger than the keywords that they want to show their ads on. So it's just to give you a sense of what, how large your negative keyword list can be. Take a look at this next slide. This is just a little bit of a taste of some of the examples of the negative keywords that you can apply to your accounts. If you're a service provider, then you probably don't want to show your ad when people are looking for training or classes or licenses or jobs or supplies. So in those types of accounts, those will be very common negative keywords that you can apply. For every account that I've ever worked with, you would probably have keywords like free, unless your products were free, lyrics, secondhand, used, pictures, definition of. I've seen that in every single account, and the history of. So basically, you're taking a look at sort of a bigger picture about the topics, the products, and the services that you sell, figuring out what all of the other related searches might be, and then adding them in as either keywords you want to show an ad on, or adding it in as a negative keyword in order to prevent your ad from appearing on those searches. Okay, let's talk about finding these keywords. Now that we have sort of a basis of what they do and how you can use match types to control which ads will appear, how do you actually find these things? Well, let's talk about the first place, which is called the Keyword Planner. This was called the Keyword Tool. It's now called the Keyword Planner. It is a free research tool that is built into every single AdWords account. So you can go in there and use that and research. And it's going to give you lots of different information. One of the things it can do, it can actually find keywords for you and group them into suggested ad groups. It can show you an estimated number of the searches that will occur on those keywords in a given area. So let's just say you're curious about that flowers example. You can get a rough estimate for how many searches will happen in the area of the country or the world where you live, so you can get an idea about what you might be expecting to pay or how much traffic you could potentially pay for if everyone clicked on your ad. You can find things like the average or the historical chance of ads being clicked on, the historical cost for a click on those ads, and more. Now, these are just estimates. It doesn't mean that it says that a click is going to cost $1, that it will necessarily be $1, but it can tell you that based on what it knows so far about the history of that particular keyword, that's what advertisers have typically paid for it. Now, when you go through with the Keyword Planner, probably the most important piece of information I can leave you with is that this is a research tool. It is not a tool it doesn't mean that every single suggestion that this tool provides you should add to your account. I've seen people do that where they have 1,000 suggestions and they just add them all into their account. That's not a good idea, because for every keyword that you find, you may also find a keyword that you want to prevent your ads from showing up on, those negative keywords that I just talked about. Keyword research is never in vain, because even if you spend the morning and you don't find a single keyword to add that you actually want to show your ad on, you'll find keywords that don't fit your business, and you can add those in as negative keywords. And when you do that, you are improving everything, because you're showing your ads, and you're making sure that your ads only show up on the search queries that are relevant to your business, which is going to help improve your performance on Google, and it's going to save you money. So anytime you do any keyword research, you're looking for both keywords to bid on and keywords to filter out so your ads won't appear on those relevant searches. Other things that you can do with the Keyword Planner, you can get different ideas for new ad groups. We don't talk a lot about structure today, but for any of you who are brand new to AdWords, I'll just give you a quick overview of the AdWords structure. Think of it as an upside down tree. With AdWords, you have an account level at the top. So that's your username, your password, all of your high-level information. Then underneath that, you have something called a campaign. And a campaign controls all of the high-level settings, things like your daily budget and where in the world your ads are going to show, and the bidding model that you choose. Today we're talking about pay-per-click. Now, within every campaign, you have something called an ad group. An ad group is simply a collection of keywords, like what we're talking about right now, and then the ads that you choose to show with that keyword. So let's go back to our florist example. Let's say that this florist sells peonies and roses and tulips. And so in this case, that might be a case where they have 3 separate ad groups, one for each type of flower. And so the ad that you write will correspond to the keywords in that group, into that ad group. So you would have a bunch of keywords for peonies, a bunch of keywords for roses, and a bunch of keywords for tulips. Now with the Keyword Planner, the tool that I'm talking about today, it can help you organize those keywords into meaningful groups, because as you start doing this research, you may very well likely end up with hundreds or even thousands of keywords that you want to start including in your account. And so it can be quite a bit of work, but the Keyword Planner can help you manage all of those. It can also give you an estimated volume for all those words. So let's just say you do a bunch of research, you find 500 keywords that are relevant to your products and services, and you want to add them into your account. The Keyword Planner can actually tell you, hey, for that you might expect up to 2,000 clicks this month, which could cost you $100 or $200. And so you can use that to understand the impact of potentially adding those into your account. You get traffic estimates and more. Anyway, so the Keyword Planner is the first place to start. It's built right into your AdWords account. So if you go right under the Tools section, you can see that to work on building your keyword list. Okay, let's talk about evaluating keywords. Within your account, you also have, there are lots of built-in tools, but this one is sort of my favorite hidden gem. And this is called the Search Terms Report. The Search Terms Report is within your account, within your ad groups here, and you would access that under the Details button on the Keywords tab. And you can see where I've highlighted that on the screen. And in a nutshell, what this is going to show you is what a person actually typed into the search engine that triggered your ad. And so if you look at this report, you'll be able to see, well, okay, someone did a search for these words, and that showed my ad, and this is how much it cost me. So this is one of the greatest ways to figure out how, beyond the Keyword Planner, how to grow your keyword list. So if you look at the Search Terms Report, you can see what they're typing in and what you paid for. And once again, it's not necessarily going to be always giving you keywords that you want to add into your account. It's going to be giving you lots of ideas for negative keywords, because you'll discover things that you never even thought of, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe my ad triggered for that, so I want to add that in as a negative keyword. So this is part of the ongoing process of managing your AdWords account. Now within the Search Terms Report, there's a little bit of terminology that I wanted to point out. So this screenshot is actually showing you what the Search Terms Report looks like. And so you see here for the first column, which is called Search Term, that actually shows you what someone typed into Google, the words they typed in that resulted in your ad being shown. The next column, which is labeled Match Type. Now we just talked about keyword match types, broad, phrase, and exact. But in this report, it actually is showing you how closely the search term related to the keyword that you were bidding on. So if it says exact, it means that it exactly matched what they typed into Google, exactly matched what you had in there as the keyword. So it helps you understand how closely those searches relate to what you've got in your account. And at the very, very end, you can see the keyword column, and that's going to show you the actual keyword in your account that triggered the ad. And you can use all of this information to tweak your account to make sure that you're only showing your ads when it makes the most sense, when the search that they typed in is relevant to your products and services. And once again, this is on the Keywords tab under Details, and it is one of the handiest, best ways to optimize your keyword list in your account. Okay. Last little tip here, use the search terms to see how your ads performed by the actual searches. You're going to use it to identify new high potential search terms and identify those irrelevant search terms that you don't want to pay for, that you want to add in as those negative keywords to your account. All right. Let's go on to the next topic, writing great ads. So keywords are the core of your account because those are what actually trigger your ads. But now you need to talk about the ads that we're actually going to be showing to the searchers. So let me give you a quick overview of the ads with the ad text specifications and some tips for writing great ads. So every ad has these lines. The first line is called the headline, and it has 25 characters maximum, including the spaces. Then we have the display URL. The display URL is showing the website that the people will end up on when they click the ad. That has 35 characters maximum, obviously including spaces because it is a URL. It can't be, it has to be a web page. It can't be a link to a PDF or a Word document or an email address. It actually has to be on a page. You can include that information on the web page, but here we're looking for a URL. The URL in the display URL has to accurately represent the website that you're sending them to. So as an example, you couldn't show them google.com in the display URL and then send them to a different website. Now, there are also two description lines. These are both 35 characters maximum, including spaces. You are only allowed one exclamation point on one of those two lines. You can't have an exclamation point in the headline, incidentally. And there are lots of rules that go along with it. Things like you can't skip a line, you can't leave a line blank, you can't write words in all caps. You can't repeat words like free, 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 free. You can't write in texting language. So they want this to be a natural ad that describes your products and services well. The last line here is the destination URL, and that has up to 1,024 characters, meaning you can send them to a page that's deep within your website that has that long URL. In fact, this is probably the #1 mistake that I see with new advertisers, where everyone sends everyone to the home page of the website. The destination URL will actually allow you to send that person to the most appropriate web page on the site that relates to that advertisement. If you think about searchers these days, it seems like, you know, we're all pressed for time. I mean, even time meaning that extra 10 seconds that it would take to dig through a website to find a page. So if the ad is, let's go back to our florist example, for peony bouquets, then if you send them to the home page of your website, you're basically asking them either to dig down through the navigation to find the appropriate web page or to do a search. And chances are at that point you're going to lose them. But if you use the destination URL to send them to the exact web page that talks about the products or services that you're advertising that match, that correspond to that keyword, you've got a much better chance of actually converting. Converting means accomplishing whatever it is you wanted them to do. In this case it's probably selling them a bouquet of flowers. So that is how our ad text is going to be broken down into those 4 visible lines and then the destination URL, which is the place where they end up on after they click on the display URL. Okay, let's talk about what makes a good ad. So what makes an ad stand out? The ad is relevant to the keywords in the ad group, meaning that when you are doing your keyword research and you have a group of keywords all together, they all relate to the ad text that you're going to show. So if the ad is about peonies, every keyword in that group should be about peonies. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that an ad should get a high click-through rate. So one way that Google measures the effectiveness of an ad campaign is based on the number of times people click on it. that is how Google makes money. Google is going to say every time someone clicks on an ad, they get paid. But it's also a reflection of the fact that someone's doing a search and they see your ad, and it means that that ad was useful. That ad answered the question and led them to take that next step to click on your ad to learn more. So the more people click on your ad, which is your click-through rate, the better chances you have of appearing higher in the ad results. And so that is another way to determine whether or not your ad is a quality ad. Now, a lot of people will ask me, well, Stasia, what is a good click-through rate? That's a tough thing to describe. It depends. It's really across the board. It's going to depend on the keyword and the industry and where in the world you are. But basically, the higher the click-through rate, the better. So if you can think of it on those terms. Another thing that you want to try to do is make your ads stand out from your competitors. So look at ads. When you're doing searches on Google, look at what other people are writing. You want to make sure that your ads aren't exactly the same. Because if you do a search on a keyword that's important for your business and every single ad says the exact same thing, why should someone choose your ad and not another, right? So you want to make sure that your ad stands out from the competition. Another thing that really does help ads is to include what's called a call to action, a CTA. Adjusting my light here. There we go. I think that's a little better. A CTA, a call to action, tells the person what they're supposed to do next. And so it's kind of strange how that works. You would think that here's my ad and here's what I've got and here's what I'm writing about, what I'm selling, that would be enough. But in fact, if you actually tell the person what it is you want them to do next, it very often leads to a more successful outcome on the ad. So if you're selling a pizza, go tell them to order a pizza. If you're selling flowers, tell them to order a bouquet. If you have a dairy business, you want them to come to get a free quote, tell them to do that. So figure out, no matter what your business model is, figure out what your desired outcome is, and then use the ad to encourage people to take that next step on your website. Also, going back to your site, make sure that the site makes it easy to do that and easy to find that. Because if your call to action is call our store and they can't find your phone number, you're putting up a roadblock to that successful action, that conversion happening on your website. And again, make sure that it links to the most relevant page of your website. So those are some quick tips on writing a good AdWords ad. So one more tip for writing an ad is asking yourself 3 questions. Ask yourself, what sets your business apart? What very specific products and what specific details can you write about your products and services? And if someone read your ad, what would you want them to do next? If your ad can answer one or all of these questions, then you're really setting yourself up to be more successful using online advertising with Google. And here are some examples of some of those possible answers here on the slide. Okay. Little quick bonus on writing the ads. So we just talked about some of the basics of writing great text ads, but there is a feature that we have in AdWords that are called ad extensions. And ad extensions are exactly that. They allow you to add little bonus information to your ads to help them stand out. Let me show you some examples of what they look like. So here you can see one that's called a call extension. So you actually have the ability to add your phone number to an ad. You actually have the ability to even add a trackable phone number to your ad. So if somebody calls, it goes into a trackable phone number that rings to your business line, and then you can actually measure whether or not AdWords is sending ads to your business. You can add location extensions and show your address and tie into a map with your location. And at the bottom you see site links extensions, and that allows you to add extra links to different pages on your site to make your ad even bigger and stand out and point out more sections on your site. So these are just some options for making your ads stand out even more. Okay, so now we've talked about advertising on Google search, and if you think about it, when people go online, I mean, how many of you, you can't talk to me, but I will ask, how many of you out there in the world have done a search today? And I'll bet lots of you already have. I think I've probably already searched 10 or 15 times today, and I'm still on my only my third cup of coffee for the day. So, but if you think about it, even though so many people search, search is basically just the springboard. When you go to Google, you're searching to find something else. And a very large percentage of the time that people spend online is actually consuming the content. So after someone leaves a search engine, you lose your opportunity to advertise to them, right? Wrong. You actually can use something called the Google Display Network. And that is going to give you a chance to show your ads on websites after they visit Google search. So I'm going to give you a very quick introduction to the Display Network and the Display Planner and the Display Ad Planner, just to show you what some of those options are. Okay, so the Display Network is a collection of websites. They're partnered with Google, and they allow Google to show ads on their web pages. And you can do it in a variety of ways. You can target people based on the topics of the pages, the keywords on the pages, general interests of those pages, and using this, you actually have the option to show your ads on millions and millions of websites around the web pages around the web, that will help your ads show up even when people are gone beyond search. And it includes some of the biggest sites, YouTube, which is owned by Google, sites like the New York Times, lots of very niche sites based on particular topics. But this is your place where if you want to go beyond search, you have that opportunity to show your ads. Now, another nice thing about the Display Network is that there are lots of formats. There are text ads, there are image ads, there are video ads. You can show ads on mobile devices. So you can get beyond just the text ads that you can show on Google search. Or you can show all of the formats if you like here. Now, with advertising on the Display Network, we are talking about placements. And a placement is simply a place where your ads can appear on this network. And a placement could be a website. It could be a blog. It could be on a particular article. It could be on a page on a blog or on a page on a website. It could be on a mobile app. And so you as the advertiser actually have the ability to select and even to filter out the placements where you would like your ads to appear. Placements are different because unlike Google search, this is not triggered by a search. Someone didn't search for buy peonies in Nashville. This is someone who's actually visiting a website that talks about peonies or talks about gardening in Nashville or is somehow related to that topic. So you want to think about this differently. You want your ads to kind of stand out and grab their attention, because now you are showing your ads when they're not actively searching for you. However, we can tell based on the context of the page that it will be contextually relevant to what that person is actually looking for or reading about. Now, how do you find these placements? If there are, in fact, millions of sites and web pages where your ads could appear, how could you possibly find them? So Google has a tool. It is called the Display Planner. It's built right into your AdWords account, and it's going to allow you to actually go through and, based on different criteria, find websites in the Display Network where you may want to show your ads. Now you can use it, again, just kind of like the keyword tool, to get estimates for the number of impressions, how many people would see your ads, how much it might cost you, and you'd be using it to develop a plan. And the plan would be basically a portfolio of all of the websites in Google's Display Network where your ads could be eligible to appear. So you can go through the Display Planner and search for things like location and language, campaign types, all of these things to build up a plan that makes sense for your advertising campaign. Once again, just like AdWords, you can control your budget. So if you have a $5 a day budget, you can put that limit on here. You don't need to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to advertise here. The budget is entirely up to you, and there's no commitment. You can turn it on, you can turn it off anytime that you want. One more thing on the display planner, here's a little screenshot that shows you some of the ideas and estimates. So this is a plan in the works, and it can show you that based on the research that I've done, I would get an estimate of 100 million to 500 million views of my ad based on the sites that I'd pulled together. So you can use that to get a sense of what kind of traffic you can expect based on the websites that you're going to be targeting. Once again, it's free and built right into your account, and it's called the Display Planner. All right, let's finish up with one more quick topic on the ads. So I just talked about all the display network and how one big difference is that you can show all of these formats, the image and video formats. Well, lots of small businesses out there may not have a creative agency or someone on staff who can make these ads. Well, I wanted to show you a quick thing within AdWords that can actually help you make really nice image ads. And so if you go, well, here's some tips just in general. If you're going to be making them, you want to have the, kind of just like your text ads, have a prominent call to action, use high quality images, your text should be easy to read, and you can experiment with promotions. But here's the tool that's built right into the account. And so if you go into your ads section, the ads tab, and you select create image ad, you actually have the version to use an option that's the image gallery builder. It's actually going to make an image ad for you. And so one cool way that it works, it can actually look at a web page that you pick, and then it can pull out images and text that it finds and automatically generate ads for you that you can then go in and tweak. And you can pick all of the different formats. For example, let's say you needed one of those long skinny banner ads or leaderboard ads. It's automatically going to make different variations of all of the ads in the different sizes that you can choose from. So if you're just getting started and you're interested in trying the display ad network and you want to show image ads, you can do that right from within your account. Okay, like I said, AdWords, it could really be a 2-day, it could be even more than a 2-day full-day class. I can talk about this for about 16 hours straight. And so my hope is that I've given you a taste for what AdWords and AdWords Express can do. I've given you some tips to help you get thinking about picking keywords and writing great text ads and getting to use the Google Display Network and finding those placements that make sense for your business, and sort of giving you an understanding of just a little bit about what's under the hood to get you started there. That being said, there's a lot more to know about this. So the next slide is showing you some resources. We have them at gybo.com. You can go to the AdWords site or the AdWords Express site. Google has a blog called the Inside AdWords blog, which has the most up-to-date information about advertising with Google. And if you're interested in advertising on Google, if you commit to a $10 a day spend for 3 months, you can get a free consultation and setup by calling this number. So that's sort of my 51-minute overview of AdWords and Crash Course and AdWords Express. And once again, my name is Stasia, and I am so excited to be working with all of the partners and all of the businesses in this program. And so I'm going to turn this back over to Mountain View and open it up for any questions for the remainder of the session. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned with me today.